And so, you know, the basic lie you tell as a non-monopoly is that we're in a very small market. The basic lie you tell as a monopoly is that the market you're in is much bigger than it looks. And so typically, if you want to think of this in sort of set theoretic terms, you could say that a monopoly tells a lie where you describe your business as the union of these vastly different markets, and the non-monopolist describes it as the intersection. So that, in effect, if you're a non-monopolist, you will rhetorically describe your market as super small. You're the only person in that market. If you have monopoly, you will describe it as super big, and there's lots of competition in it. So some examples of how this works in practice. So I always use restaurants as the example of a terrible business. And this is always, you know, sort of my idea is that, you know, capitalism and competition are antonyms. Capital is someone who accumulates capital. A world of perfect competition is a world where all the capital gets competed away. So you're opening a restaurant business. No one wants to invest because you just lose money. So you have to tell some idiosyncratic narrative, and you will say something like, well, we're the only British food restaurant in Palo Alto. So it's British, Palo Alto, and of course that's too small a market because people may be able to drive all the way to Mountain View or even Menlo Park. And there probably are no people who eat nothing but British food, at least no people who are still alive. And so that is, that's a sort of a fictitiously narrow market. There's sort of a Hollywood version of this where the way movies always get pitched is, you know, okay, it's like a college football star, you know, joins an elite group of hackers to catch the shark that killed his friend. Sorry. And so now that is a movie that has not yet been made. But the question is that the right category, or is the correct category, it's just another movie? In which case, you know, there are lots of those. It's super competitive, incredibly hard to make money. No one ever makes money in Hollywood doing movies. It's really, really hard. And so you always have this question about, does the intersection, is it real? Does it make sense? Does it have value that one should ask? And of course, there are startup versions of this where you, and the sort of the really bad versions, you just take a whole series of buzzwords, sharing mobile, social apps, you combine them, and you have some kind of narrative, and whether or not that's a real business or not it's generally a bad sign. So it's almost this pattern recognition. When you have this rhetoric of this sort of intersections, it generally does not work. The something of somewhere is really mostly just the nothing of nowhere.